Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pei.
And welcome. Whoops. You're tuned into Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on NBC News, CNBC News, and NBC Sports radio station KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, Audible, Amazon Music, Podchaser, Spreaker, Tiki Live, Rumble, and about 20 more. That's too long to list, but I am so delighted that my splatter zone for hope and happiness is continuing to expand, because that's what this show is about. So there's no gossip, no scandal, and very, very important, there are no K words, no Kanye talk at all. Instead, I want you to focus on your own reality show and how you can be happy 88% of the time. So there's topics and guests to that end, and helpful advice. And that's what today's show is about, because we are celebrating World Mental Health Day. That's right. It's October the 10th. And in case you didn't see the news already, that's the focus. And I'm so delighted that one of the hashtag COVID silver linings that has happened because of the pandemic is we are a little more concerned than we were, I think, hashtag BC19, the time before COVID, as I like to call it, about our mental health. Instead of just talking about, we're lucky if we have our health, we are really blissiplined if we have our mental health. And so that's the topic for today. And I thought, since I do this work as one of my 8 roles in life, as a happiness coach, as a life balance coach, as a law of attraction coach, that I would give you some free advice this morning. Now, this is my opinion, and also based on decades, I'm not going to say exactly how many because I'm ageless, of work in this field. And so the other thing I wanted to give as a caveat is, I believe there's no one best way for everyone. I do believe that some people will resonate more with others as coaches, as therapists, as teachers, as gurus, whatever it is, that some people will learn from others better. And so there is an audience for everyone, and there is a teacher for everyone, including ourselves. And so if this resonates with you, great. And if it doesn't, no harm, no foul. But I know that my specific specialty is as one of the 7 out of 10 of us who've had childhood trauma. And that's the majority. My honorable moniker, Oprah, says it's as high as 8 out of 10. And that's really an important group to reach, because I know that even before the pandemic, those of us who grew up with that kind of background have a very big hurdle to overcome. Sometimes we believe those messages that we got when we were kids. You're not good enough. You'll never amount to anything. You're fat, ugly, and clumsy, which is what I was told for 17 years in the house. And so we get to practice, even not harder necessarily, but in a special way. We got chiseled by those early negative messages. And I know for a fact that you can have a happy life, even if you've had a rough start, even if you've had a Ozzie and Harriet background. Some of you don't even know what that is, but Modern Family. Well, Modern Family was a good example of dysfunction and laughter and family. So if you're one of the 7 out of 10 of us, then this definitely is a show for you, because I'm going to be going through some Happy 88 tips that you can use to up your mental health. So before we get into that, you do know that I love to start every show. And this is actually one of the tools called taking a bite of my gratitude sandwich. And that's breakfast with Dr. Marissa. So we're going to get ready. If you've just tuned in and are wanting to know more about World Mental Health Day, we're going to do that today after we do 8 specific gratitudes. What are 8 specific things that you are grateful for? You know the drill. If your eyeballs are rolling in, if you are streaming this, please do feel free to put it in the chat, and I'll put it on the ticker tape. And if you are driving, which I know a lot of you do, thank you for the continued messages of support. There's a lot of people out there that recognize me. I know I'm on radio, and yes, they do say that I have a face for radio. No, I'm just kidding. There are cameras in my studio, and it's really wonderful when I go on hashtag Dr. Marissa reporting live, and people will come up and say, I know you, or I've heard you, or I listen to you every morning. And thank you so much for that. All right. And that's my first gratitude. I love being recognized for good. I love being recognized for happiness and hope, because that's my job. That's my Happy 88 mission. I'm grateful that my whole life is about 88 million more happy people in the next 8 years. That's 2. I'm grateful that this morning I really did not feel like going to the gym and starting my day that way, and I did it anyways. So I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful that I'm back on my Love Me 2.0 project, and I'm back down 25 pounds, which is great. I was down 27, but it's okay. Those butter tarts in Canada were worth it. Number 5, I'm grateful that I won my Mahjong tournament yesterday and won $6, which was a big deal. I'm grateful that I have my kids are coming down this week from San Francisco. I'm grateful that my younger daughter is celebrating her 23rd birthday. Good Lord Almighty. And finally, I'm grateful. This is the week of really having gratitude on steroids, because 4 years ago, my older daughter almost died, fractured her neck, fractured her wrist. The pictures are on my social media, Doc Balance on Instagram, Dr. Marissa everywhere else. And it truly was a miracle that she rolled her Jeep about, the salvage guy, yard guy said, like 12 to 20 times. And she pulled herself unconscious out of that Jeep. She said that she heard my father, who's in heaven, my Chinese dad, Dr. David Pei, say to her, get out. And she walked almost a mile, the police said, to the nearest house. She doesn't remember any of this. They heard something on the porch. They opened the door. She was unconscious, face up. They called the ambulance, and then I got that fated call from the sheriff's department at 11:30 my time here, 2:30. She was in her 3rd year at Cornell at the time, I believe, and she had gone to a concert where one of her favorite groups, and she rented a Jeep to go to the concert. And I asked her, I said, are you going to bring somebody to go to enjoy the concert? And she said, why would I take somebody who really doesn't like that kind of music? I can go by myself. Who does that sound like? So she went to the concert. She was not drinking. She was driving home at 2 a.m. And it was a 2-lane highway in New York, upper state New York, near Cornell. And oncoming car came at her. She swerved, overcorrected, rolled the Jeep, and I flew out. And I have to say, this is one of my disciplines. I did not let worst case scenario enter my mind. And that's a preview of what this show's about. What kinds of things can you do to help yourself help yourself? And mental health matters. Sometimes people jump to, I need something outside of myself to fix it. And I'm here to tell you there are things you can do to help your own mental health. And one of those things is best case scenario. No matter what situation you're in, what is the best case scenario? So that entire time in the hospital, when, she could have been paralyzed, she could have been all those things, I did not allow myself to go there. I just went from test to test. Doctor came in, test to test. And in the meantime, I just held up. Hashtag UP, unlimited possibilities, miracles can happen. And they did. She was released 5 days later. The fracture in her neck was stabilized. She's completely healed from that. Her wrist fracture is healed. She only missed 2 days of school. She ended up on the dean's list. She's incredibly strong and a trooper. But I know as a mom, when you get that call that you never want saying there's been an accident, your daughter's in the accident and it's bad, it's easy to go to worry, fear, anxiety, stress. Everything that's happened with the pandemic, it's easy to go to fear, anger, worry, stress. And at the same time, we have the strength within us. If we are not lazy, sloppy thinkers, if we know how to focus our minds, if we know how to engage our hearts, and we can hold the hand of a friendly universe no matter what, then we're going to come out of whatever it is with mental health that is still at a level. 8 out of 10 is good for me. It's not perfect. It's not 10 out of 10. That's what I'd like you to do today is on a scale of 1 to 10. I see some eyeballs rolling in. On a scale of 1 to 10, what is your number in mental health right now? So 1 is really bad and 10 is perfect. And again, 8 is my go-to. So put it in the chat. And we're going to specifically use this show today to raise it at least 1 point, because I know you can do that. And I know that you have the discipline to do that. So I got sidetracked. That was the 8th gratitude. I'm so grateful that we are celebrating mental health, World Mental Health Day today on the show. 8 appreciations for yourself. Here's another tool on how you can raise your mental health. What do you appreciate about yourself? And at night, you do have the power to not go to bed scrolling. You have the power to be able to plug this in another room and do something else instead of causing or letting something cause you to get into more fear and doubt, unless you're focused on my channel, which always 100% of the time has something positive on it. But most social media is not that way. Most social media is things that you react to, you want to be negative or angry about, and you post or you unfriend. So that's not the way you want to go to bed. So I was talking to a client who followed the advice, plugs it in the other room, and she told me, but Dr. Marissa, I have so much anxiety that it's over there and I'm missing something. So she was in a worse shape by the anxiety plugging in another room. So we did some substitution therapy and, or not therapy, but substitution recommendations. So she loves to read. And I recommended a book of someone that I heard on stage when I shared a stage with him on at the Anaheim Convention Center, not last weekend, the weekend before. And it's called Stolen Focus. And it's a very, very interesting book based on research about how our focus, if you're a lazy focuser, you can be swept away by whatever's happening around you and the drama that's happening around you, especially in social media. So she's going to read that instead because she loves to read. So that is another tip for you. as far as when you go to bed, plug it in somewhere else. But here's the most important thing, and this is the bottom of the bun of our gratitude sandwich, which is, what do you appreciate about yourself? And if you get good at this, then what happens is it doesn't matter what compliment or criticism you get, it's going to be okay because you know who you really are. And that is a skill that I promise will up your mental health. So I was just talking to my sound engineer, Polly. I'm going to have you do this. You don't have to come on the air for this, but I want you to recognize or recognize, as my big brother Michael Bernard Beckwith will say, the way you look at yourself. So how many of us are really hard on ourselves? Okay. And when I do this from stage, everybody I know everybody in the audience will raise their hands. I'm not any harder on myself. I'm not harder on you, any harder on you than I am on myself. I am my own worst critic. I uh, I know I should do better. If I get 99 compliments and one insult, my mind goes to the one insult. It's difficult for me to take compliments. If any of those you're nodding at, then you are hard on yourself. And I'm telling you, if that is so, I have two words for you. Stop it. But it's not that easy. So that's why the muscle is to practice what is good about you. So play along with me. Go ahead and put in the chat, what are you good at? Or what is the compliment that you have a difficult time taking? The more you do this, if you do this for 30 days, I promise you will start feeling better about yourself and manage your own mental health. So I appreciate, different than gratitude, I appreciate that I am caring 88% of the time. I appreciate that I am determined. I appreciate that I am focused. I appreciate that I am fun. I appreciate that I am funny. I appreciate that I'm stylish. I appreciate that I'm witty. And I appreciate that I am always trying new things. No fear is the other way to say that. So there's 8 specific appreciations that I'm doing now, but you do that before you go to bed and you will have a better night's sleep. So that's it for Gratitude Sandwich. I hope you enjoyed Breakfast with Dr. Marissa. And now we are celebrating World Mental Health Day, October the 10th. It is also Indigenous Peoples Day, and a nod and a wonderful gratitude for those who were on this land before us. And I believe that there's not enough appreciation for the Indigenous people. I always point out that expression, Indian giver, which thank goodness people do not use anymore, at least I hope, is kind of stupid. I don't usually say stupid on the show, but the inference is that you give something and then you take it back, when the reality is we took their land. And so today, if you can show some appreciation, we should be doing this every single day. It shouldn't be on this day, but I know that this day is a remembrance. And I know that when I cover events like the Indigenous Day in city of Santa Ana, it was a beautiful celebration. You can see it on my social media. I'm dancing there. I really love diversity and value diversity, and I hope you do too. All right. Back to World Mental Health Day. So what constitutes Mental Health Day and how did it come into play? It started in, let's see, I wrote all this down. It started with the World Federation Mental Health, and they decided that they wanted to recognize it in 1992. It actually didn't start with any specific objective, but it was started by the Deputy Secretary General at the time, Richard Hunter. So I want to show some appreciation for him. There is the WHO, World Health Organization, reported that before the pandemic in 2019, at least 1 out of 8 people around the world was afflicted by a mental condition. 1 out of 8. In addition, particularly low and middle income nations, the services, expertise, and financing for mental health remain in limited supply and short of what it should be. According to WHO, the COVID-19 pandemic has created a global crisis, fueling both short and long-term stresses and undermining mental health of millions. Estimates put the rise in both anxiety and depressive disorders in more than 25% during the first year of the pandemic. At the same time, the services have been severely disrupted and the treatment gap for mental health conditions has widened. So there's your statistics for World Mental Health Day. And let me do the caveat again. Some people, I think there's an all or nothing reaction sometimes to mental health. And if you're not feeling good, if you're feeling sad and depressed, if you're feeling anxious, if you're having panic, if you're feeling badly, the first go-to is I need to pop a pill. I need to go see somebody. I need to find help outside of myself. And I want to be really clear. This is true for some people. But I believe it is my BS, my belief system, that for many more than believe so, I'm not going to give you a percentage. I'm not sure. I don't know. But I know from working with people that have tried medication to help their anxiety, doesn't help their anxiety. In fact, there's side effects. Plus, they feel even more anxious than before. And now there's a drug to help the drug, which is kind of, to me, doesn't make any sense at all. And the list of side effects is so horrific. If you've listened to the commercial, I'm surprised that people knowingly go and do that. At the same time, I acknowledge that there are people who do need some medical, specific medical attention to balance out whatever unbalance there is in hormones or whatever it is. And there's a large percentage of people who have not yet really tested or tried to see how the relationship between mental health and feelings and focus and body-mind connection. So let's say, I'll give you a normal example. So someone who is generally in a okay mood and, before the pandemic, they were, going to their job, doing their job, having fun with their family and friends, good days, bad days at work, some stress with commuting, some stress with relationships. But for the most part, let's say they're a 6.5 out of 10. And then the pandemic comes and there's a loss of job, there's a loss of relationships, there's a loss of freedom. And that 6.5 out of 10 mental health rating goes down to a 4 or a 3 or a 2, depending on what the news said. You can't do this, you can't do that, you can't go here, this is closed, this is more expensive, this is all of that. So the number drops, and I think that describes a lot of people Some of them have gone back to work and sort of rebounded a little, sort of trying to get back to normal, trying to make more money to make up for what was lost. And that I would say is probably about the average, you know, attitude or what's been happening. So to the average, that bell curve and that the 60 in the middle. So what happens? You're not sleeping well. You've gained weight. The COVID-19, I call it 19-pound weight gain. I know it's not funny, but I saw that saying somewhere. It says, when we're out of the pandemic, where do you go to Weight Watchers or do you go to AA because of the bad stuffing habits that we got during COVID in isolation? So that's the audience that I'm talking to right now. And the quick fix that Americans are known for, what's the magic pill? How can I feel better immediately? How can I go somewhere and get help? And again, I am not bagging on professional mental health workers or professional mental health help. However, I would like you to try some of the tools that I'm going to be going through today before you do that. Just try 30 days. That's all that I'm asking, because I do believe that COVID has allowed and given us an opportunity to strengthen our own ability to self-care. I believe that fully, completely. And some people have risen to that challenge. Some people have realized that they have an inner strength that they didn't know they had. And some have not. So today's show is about that. I've already given you, I think, 4 Happy 88 tools. I will continue to do that and give that to you when we come back from break. But it is so vitally important that you recognize that you can self-care to a point that you may not have given yourself credit for. All right, we're going to continue this discussion after the break. And when we come back from the break, there's also going to be an Asian Oprah giveaway based on the commercial that you're going to see. And I'm delighted to announce again my sponsorship at the Newport Beach Film Festival. So stay tuned. Right after the break, you're going to get a chance to win 2 tickets to the Chinese Spotlight Film and Pacific Rim Showcase. It's a lot of fun. It's in Southern California, Newport Beach. It's valued at $190. So stay tuned here with Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on World Mental Health Day on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind. Welcome to Balanced Tai Chi Gong. My name is Dr. Marissa Pei. For the next 28 minutes, we will be slow dancing with the universe in a moving meditation that promotes inner peace, one breath at a time. Just follow the sound of my voice and move with me as I guide you through this ancient wisdom through New Thought practice. As a corporate psychologist, I created this practice in response to my life and those of my clients. We were professional, high achievement-oriented, multitasking control freaks and exhausted. No matter how many successes, it was never enough. That, coupled with a painful life experience, led me on a quest to find another way to live and back to my Chinese roots. If you practice regularly, I can promise you that it will impact all health vortexes. Body, mind, spirit, soul. You will be in a place of balance and inner peace the way we were created. 谢谢. Be my partner, dance with me, just hold on, I will. Can you turn the volume up on this? Oh, this is the wrong one. Okay, I brought up the wrong video, but let's see. Should be here. There it is.
Beach was the perfect setting for an international film festival.
I'm Kate Beckinsale.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
I'm Milo Ventimiglia. You're at the Newport Beach Film Festival.
Newport Beach, stepping it up.
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pei.
And welcome back. You are tuned into Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on NBC News Radio, KCAA, AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, and my YouTube channel, where if you free subscribe, you will get access to hundreds, actually 1,000 videos now, 794 of my show, plus my red carpet playlist with interviews with Halle Berry, John Travolta, Quincy Jones, The Temptations, you name it, it's there. So you'll also get an alert every weekday morning when you join this show about hope and happiness. And today is October the 10th, World Mental Health Day. So I thought I would take the show today to give you some free Happy 88 tips to manage your mental health. So the first thing is to be aware of where you are on the scale. So 10 being, basically you're dead, because if you have perfect mental health, then you're really not alive, because we're not always going to be happy. And then 1 horrible, which some people were not at a 1 before the pandemic, but because of the pandemic, we have been reacting to all of the loss and may have dropped at least 2 or 3 points. And according to the World Health Organization, in the first year, we certainly did have an increase in anxiety, depression of 25%. And as I mentioned before the break, I absolutely want to help. I am not a licensed mental health worker. I am, however, a coach, a life balance coach, happiness coach, and law of attraction coach. I am an organizational psychologist, and I am a person who has gone through childhood trauma, like 7 out of 10 of us have. And based on all of that, I put it together, all my tools, in this book called 8 Ways to Happiness from Wherever You Are. And it is my BS, my belief system, that you can help yourself and advocate for your own mental health. Not saying you don't need to go somewhere else, but it is possible to do more than you think you can. So I am certain, I am 100% certain that you can at least raise your notch 1 before popping a pill, before going to talk to someone, because there are things that we can do to help ourselves. Gave you some tools ahead of the time. I start every show with a gratitude sandwich. Here's another silly but very simple thing that I never recommended this until the pandemic, because we lost that sense of touch, which we would do, hugging people that we saw, meeting them. And so to not replace it, but to augment it, when you do this, when you actually learn how to give yourself a hug, it does help that feeling. And it reminds me of those studies in psychology that some of you might remember in your first year of college, where they did tests on infant monkeys that were held versus not held in their first 3 months of life or something very early. And the difference was incredibly significant in how their mental health happened. So you can hug yourself. At the same time, you can also strengthen your focus. And a lot of people have allowed the news media, the weapon of mass distraction, to influence their mental health. Now, how many of you wake up in the morning and the first thing you do is you grab your phone and you start scrolling? Come on, be honest. I used to do that. And it's the same. It's the equivalent of the generation before turning the radio on, turning the TV on. And so your attention and your focus is hijacked by whatever a producer has decided was the most important news item. There are a million news items every single moment, but usually if it bleeds, it leads, it catches our attention. It is not good news most of the time. It's almost always bad news. It's almost always in three categories. I say it's what's happening in the government, that's bad. Two is what's happening in natural disaster, that's bad. And three, what's happening with people, the worst behavior in people, murder, corruption, stealing, whatever that is. So it's rarely good news. So if you are not a strong focuser, then and you allow yourself to just be like bobbing on this sea of news, and it's really not new, it's old, and it's really something that someone wants you to pay attention to. And I think with social media and the smartphone, it's a distractophone. And as a result, you don't have control over your feelings, because your feelings are going to be an automatic knee-jerk reaction to what is being put in front of you, which you think you can't control, but you can. That's why I ask you to plug the phone at night in another room. That's why I ask you not to start with this. That's why I say don't look at your email until you've had a chance to just start your day in the most positive way. So this is what I'd like you to do. These are new focus practices. It's part of my discipline that I do every morning, 98% of the time. I allow myself some oopsies. It used to be 88% of the time, but it just feels better. My day feels better when I do this. A lot of you are like, I've been very happy to hear compliments like you're the most positive person I know. And honestly, it's not an act, because I like feeling good. Why do I say the things I do and do the things I do? Because I love the feeling of feeling good. All right. So first thing I do this morning, open my eyes before the alarm went off. I usually get around up around 6, and I'll tell you before I have a chance to think, I get out of bed, because I know that if I start the debate, I'm gonna lose. As soon as I entertain, well, I can work out later after the show. Well, I'm tired. I didn't get enough sleep. Well, I deserve to have more sleep. Well, I'm not going to win that. So I just get out of bed. So that's the first trip and tip to just get out of bed. Go to the bathroom, go get your coffee, go brush your teeth. I put cold water on my face, and don't engage with this brat in your head that tells you, you don't have to go to the pool. Your bathing suit tells you to go to the pool, and your sweatpants say, nah, it's okay. So listen to your bathing suit. Listen to the part of you that knows that if you start the day with some movement, if you start the day with not debating, that you're going to have a better day. So I went down to the gym, and you know what? When I do, I always feel better after, because I know that I acted on my own behalf. You know what's good for you, but we don't always listen to that balance-centered voice of ourselves. We listen to the brat that says, who says I can't eat that donut? Or we listen to the critic that says, don't bother. Every time you lose weight, you gain weight. Every time, don't bother. It's not, you're not nobody's going to look at you anyways. All those voices that are not good for you, don't listen to them. Listen to your balance-centered self. Then I go get my coffee. Then I go to the gym. After this show, those of you who don't have a show, you go directly into breathing, also known as meditation. Some of you, on the days that I don't work out, I just sit up in bed and I start the practice of breathing. And it's a 3-breath technology. I'm going to teach it to you right now. You gently close your eyes. You put your palms up in your lap. You put your feet on something rooted, or you're sitting up in bed and you're just feeling your back against whatever the rest is. Take the first breath in and release. Soft shoulders, soft elbows, soft knees. Do it with me now. That is the first breath that engages and activates the body. So you're aligning your breath with your body. Soft shoulders, soft elbows, soft knees. You feel your breath going through your body. Second breath in. Releasing all the stories and the drama. Activating the mind, taking all of that junk that has collected. They say there's brain poop during the night. If you don't get enough sleep, it collects in your mind. You release all of that out of your bottom of your feet. That's your mind. And then the third breath, the most important breath, is connecting with chi. Chi is eternal energy. That's Mandarin. I know I look Swedish, but I'm actually Chinese. Chi is the breath of life, eternal energy that connects us all. It's the connection between you and the creation. How did the fact that every drop of water in the ocean is different, every blade of grass is different, grain of sand, leaf in the tree, all 7.5 billion of us are different, unique, one of a kind. Something created that. Even if you believe that it spontaneously, whatever that creation is, that energy force that keeps the planet from crashing into each other at night, that's the force that you connect with in that third breath. You don't have to call it God. You don't have to call it anything. Just know that that third breath connects you so you're not feeling so alone. And it is my BS, my belief system, that you can either choose to believe that the universe is friendly or not. And why would you choose it not friendly, even though bad things happen? Because it's always good to have a little bit of help somewhere. So that is a choice we can make. Einstein says that that's the most important question that we can answer in this thing called life. And if you want to focus on all the bad things that have happened, go ahead. And how do you feel? You feel like crap when you constantly point out what happened in the Holocaust, what happened in the kids in Africa who have AIDS, what's happening in the natural disasters everywhere. If you focus there and stay there and keep going and spiraling down on all the bad things that are happening on the planet, you will not feel good. If, on the other hand, I'm not saying that you deny the things that have been happening on the planet that are horrific, but there's a way to focus on what was learned, what did we grow from, what was developed in us, what skill ability was developed because those things happened. when the natural disasters that happen breaks our hearts wide open to do great things. The way that We Are the World came together to help in Haiti. Uh, you know, there's always that silver lining. I put on my life jacket with the silver lining every single day. Why? Because it makes me feel better. I manage my own mental health. So that's the third breath that is the most important. Now go back, you're sitting, you're breathing. Put your timer on. If you've never breathed before, it's 2 minutes. And then every day add a minute. Don't go beyond 15 minutes because you have life to live. 15 minutes of just breathing and focusing on your breathing. It's called meditation. You don't need any fancy mantra. You don't need any fancy anything, but just breathe. Because when you're breathing, what happens is you are stopping that negative thought. You are giving your mind a break. You are allowing yourself to connect with the breath of the energy that creates the world. And that's all it is. And when you do that, you also clear a path for inspired thought. So you're not sitting under a bodhi tree doing nothing. You are actually breathing to start your day with a purposeful connection to a power of a creation, the source. It could be nature, whatever that is. That keeps me strong. It keeps me knowing that I can access that power. So, give you an example. There are some things in my life that I have no control over. I have a neighbor whose subwoofer is so loud and she doesn't care, and I can't do anything about it. I've used earplugs, it still comes through, but now that is in a category called, it's up to you. The power that creates the world, you can fix this. I can't do anything anymore. There's a project that I've been working on for a long time, and it's not happening. I've done all I can. I don't think about it anymore. I don't worry about it more. When it comes up, I go, can't do anything about it. I let it go. So this is another way to focus my power and helping myself feel better. Because if you don't feel good on what you're paying attention to, then it's your job to not pay attention to it. Sounds simple. It's not easy. We want to complain. We don't like something. We want to tell somebody else about it. We want to try to fix it. But honestly, His Holiness, the Dalai Lama, my favorite saying, if there's a problem and there's a solution, there's nothing to worry about. But if there's a problem and there's no solution, there's still nothing to worry about. Who's the boss of that? You are. You can focus on things that make you feel better, not worse. I take from Abraham Hicks this expression all the time. What is the best feeling thought I could have right now? So if you're thinking about something and it feels like shiitake, then quit thinking about it. Abraham will say, go general. If you're focused on someone who's driving you crazy, I literally will get up and move to another room or put down the device, step away from the device. If you feel yourself getting caught up in a battle on text, just leave it alone. If you feel yourself getting angry, say, let me talk about this later. If you feel yourself getting sad, allow yourself to get sad for a California minute. I use 16 seconds because the law of attraction says that in 17 seconds, I'm going to attract something like what I'm thinking about to me. So when I get mad, I literally count 16, 15, 14, 13. And then I say, I can't wait to see what good comes out of this. Packed with tools. Hopefully you're hearing them. These are all things that you can do to help yourself up your level of mental health. Any questions? I don't see any questions. You can get a free happy tip sheet from my website, drmarissa.life. And just as soon as you put your email in, you're going to get a free happy tip. All right. You heard the commercial during the break. It is also Monday. I've been promising all last week that I'm going to be giving away a pair of tickets to the Chinese Spotlight film. It's on my daughter's birthday, October the 19th. You'll see me introduce the Chinese Spotlight film, Newport Beach Film Festival, one of the most diverse festivals there is. I love it. I'm grateful. I've been a sponsor for 5 years now of the Chinese Spotlight film. Huge party with lion dances, really good food. I don't drink, but there's free all kinds of libations there. Opening night is the 13th. Closing night is the 20th. The final night before the closing is the Chinese Spotlight. So the first person to go to drmarissa.life and put in Chinese as the subject line will get a pair of those tickets, and you'll also see me there interviewing people on the red carpet. I met Pierce Brosnan there one year. It was great. And his wife, they were doing a film, Poisoning Paradise, I believe it was. So lots of really wonderful opportunities and fun and glitz and glamour. You get to get dressed up and walk the red carpet. So please do join me there. Go to newportbeachfilmfest.com to get your tickets if you don't get the Asian Oprah giveaway. All right. I know we're almost out of time. Also, I'm happy to tell you that if you're a dreamer, daydream believer, and Wednesday, my resident wonderful staff dream interpreter. She is a shaman, dream interpreter, so many different things. She's going to be here to interpret not just your dreams, but she's been having some dreams. I spoke to her this morning, and so she's going to share some of those. Those of you who poo-poo dreams like me before I open my mind to them, they are really good feedback mechanisms to things that are going on in your life, and they can give you some tips and some recommendations on how you can improve your life, especially as we're talking about World Mental Health Day. So make sure, go to www.drmarissa.life, put in Chinese for your free Asian Oprah giveaway tickets, and then tune in every weekday morning to take my advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show. Remember, it's all about balance. Peace in, peace out, world peace through inner peace. Now go forth and have the best day ever.